Hi everyone, welcome to Chris Pritchard's Cycling News Show. It's Wednesday and today we're doing something a little bit different. I'm not going to be able to bring you all the exclusives from Eurobike because today, well, after a comment we received on Monday, I want to take this opportunity to do something a little different. So instead of bringing you all the exclusive news from Eurobike, all the news from La Vuelta, today we're going through cycling vocabulary and especially pronunciation of said vocabulary after this comment was made on Monday. This comes from Lionel Flanders. What the f is a drive chain and a peloton? This is like a cycling channel by for people who know nothing about cycling. Firstly, Lionel, I'd like to take the opportunity to say thank you very much for that great constructive criticism. Allows me to better myself as a cycling presenter and to bring better content to you guys. So today we will be going through cycling pronunciation and cycling vocabulary, starting with the first word, bicycle. Bicycle. Moving on, cassette. Cassette. Group set. Group set. Wheel. Wheel. And finally, the last word in the cycling vocabulary today is dickhead. That's dick head, or one word. And that can be used to describe, those patronising cyclists that like to leave comments on your videos. So join us again next week for more cycling vocabulary. I'm sorry, I just had to do that, I'm sorry. Welcome everybody to Wednesday's edition of the Chris Pritchard Cycling News Show. Now we need to get into this news ASAP because there's some amazing exclusives going on right now at Eurobike and we will cover them shortly. But first, let's take a quick look at what happened yesterday in La Vuelta because, well, let's take a look at some of the winners at yesterday's TT. The biggest winner out of them all is obviously Primož Roglič. He won the bloody stage. And out of the top 5 GC riders, he was the only rider in the top 10 of that time trial. Such was his dominance. He looked unbelievable out there. Tadej Pogačar also proved that he was a winner in this stage. He only lost 1 minute and 29 to Primož Roglič, but in doing so showed just how strong he is as a GC contender. He can climb. He can time trial. This kid is a serious GC contender, especially in the years to come, as he's only going to get stronger and stronger in his time trialing. He only lost 1 minute 29. He finished 11th overall. At 3 minutes and 5 seconds down on Roglič, it appears that he could be out of contention for the overall win. There is a good chance that he might sneak the podium, but I don't think Pogačar is here to solely get on that podium. I don't think that's his goal. I think it's a matter of if he can get on the podium, then amazing. But ideally, what he wants to do is get 3 weeks of racing under his belt, prove to everybody just how good and capable he is, and then use that to take a step forward next year and potentially fight for overall victory and podium spots at all the Grand Tours next year that he takes part in. The next big winner is Alejandro Valverde. Overtakes his teammate in GC, had a solid time trial, 13th position. He moves up into second place on GC, 1 minute and 52 behind Roglič. Now the biggest loser of yesterday clearly has to be Nairo Quintana. Lost 3 minutes and 3 seconds over Roglič on that time trial, giving him a deficit of 3 minutes to make up in the mountains. I mean, you can never write him off with the form he was showing in the Tour de France when he went off on his own. Anything could happen still, but obviously you've got riders chomping at the bit, trying to make that podium, trying to fight for that first place. Miguel Angel Lopez, Alejandro Valverde, what's going to happen there? Is Quintana now going to have to settle as a second rider, as a super domestique and work for Valverde? And what's Mark Soler thinking now? He's another loser. He should have just committed to going for that victory on stage 9. Yes, the team might have been annoyed at him that he didn't wait for Quintana, but now looking at that time trial, did it matter? Should he have waited for him? I think not. And I bet he's kicking himself now because he could have gone and he could have got that victory. There's still 5 mountaintop finishes to summit at this year's La Vuelta, so there's still all to play for. It's going to take a lot of hard work to try and get that red jersey off of Roglič. How the Movistar dynamics are going to work out over the next couple of weeks, well, we'll have to wait and see. I mean, Nairo Quintana now is moving to Arkea Samsic, which was confirmed on the rest day.
Bonjour, Arkea Samsic.
Now he's confirmed to go there. Maybe he just doesn't care anymore. Maybe he will just sneak off the front and the guys will give him a little bit of leeway because he is 3 minutes down and they don't think he's going to be strong enough on his own, and then maybe before you know it he's doing a Froomey up the road and then he's back in contention. Who knows? Or maybe now he will just settle for working for Valverde. And then you've got the likes of Pogacar, who really has nothing to lose, so that he might get up the road and upset the apple cart. And then you've got the likes of Pogacar, you've got Miguel Angel Lopez, both having their own race for that white jersey. Ultimately, I don't think Lopez really cares about it when he's looking at the red jersey overall, but who knows? It's so exciting. Today's stage, I'm hoping, because I've already recorded this, it was a nice, quiet affair. It'll be about this time now that if anything serious has happened, I'll be back telling you about it. It appears not. Let's move on. Alright, let's talk about the news that you all came here for. First up, Wahoo have just announced their brand new Kickr Bike.
This one's for the obsessed. A training machine built for cyclists, by cyclists. The goal: blur the line between virtual and reality. And this is the result. Kickr Bike. A complete training system designed to recreate what you experience on your outdoor bike. You're fit. Your kit. Your set. Your rides. All built on everything we've learned since we launched our first revolutionary creation.
Now, first off, let's talk about the aesthetics. What do you think to it? Do you think it looks nice? I saw the prototype for this quite a while ago now, and I looked at it and my first instinct was like, I wasn't keen on the look at all. And I'll be honest, seeing it there in the video, it looks so much better than I thought. It looks absolutely brilliant. Leave your comments down below. Let me know everything that you think about this bike. All right, so let's take a look at the details of this brand new Kickr Bike. The Kickr Bike offers unprecedented innovations such as integrated grade changes, customizable gearing, simulated shifting to create the most powerful, personalized and realistic indoor training experience. Using Kickr's legendary flywheel technology, the Kickr Bike creates unparalleled responsiveness and power accuracy of plus or minus 1%. Real-time grade changes will match ascents up to 20% and descents of minus 15, while allowing to maintain speed and truly replicate the sensation of riding outdoors. Its robust steel and aluminium construction will withstand the hardest rides, even if your legs don't. Now, one thing about this Kickr Bike is it's very app orientated, so you're able to use the app to actually set the bike up, to build the bike and to fit the bike as well. The Wahoo Fitness app will guide you through an easy to set up of 5 points of adjustability on the Kickr Bike. Choose from either professional bike fit measurements. So for instance, if you've had a bike fit with someone like Retool, for instance, you can take all those measurements that you've got from that, you can put them into the app and the app will tell you exactly what you need to set up on that Kickr Bike to get the same setup on that as you have on that bike fit that you've had. That makes sense? You can also take a photo to measure your bike, or you can just simply enter your body measurements. That means you're going to be able to personalize that fit so you've got exactly the same setup on that Kickr Bike as you have on your outdoor bike. The Kickr Bike also allows you to customize it in the form of having your own saddle on it, having your own handlebars and also your own pedals. Now here for me is one of the most amazing features of the new Kickr Bike. The virtual shifting technology of the Kickr Bike is programmable, so you're able to match the exact gear ratios, including the number of speeds and cassette tooth count. The Kickr Bike also allows you to customize your group set, so if you're Shimano, SRAM or Campag rider, you can set that up in the app, so your gear changes will mimic that of your pre-existing group set. The digital display clearly communicates both gearing and grade, so you always know where you are during every stage of the ride. And let's take a look at the video now and break down some of those key features of this bike. So there you can see that you've got the adjustability within the cranks. You can go all the way from 165mm all the way up to 175mm simply by adding those pedals into whichever crank length you want. Now for me this is amazing. Yes, it might not look as nice and aesthetically pleasing as a normal crank, but the fact that you can just undo your pedals and change your crank length in an instant is a great way to be able to actually find out what crank lengths work best for you. I mean, me personally, I have never changed my crank lengths. I don't know what difference I can get out of riding by changing them. If I've got one of these, you know, I can spend 20 minutes riding 165 just to see what it feels, take it to 175 and instantly be able to compare the two back to back instead of getting off the bike, changing the cranks and then spending 20 minutes getting it all ready to get back on again to then go, actually, I can't quite remember what it feels like, but boom, take it out, into the next one, back on the bike. You can feel and get an instant reaction and compare it instantly to various different crank lengths. Now this for me, this is amazing. This is what sets this bike apart from everything else. So last year, Kickr introduced the Kickr Climb, where you installed your front forks into it, and then it had changed the gradient as and when you adjusted it yourself, or as and when you were using a third-party software, something like Zwift, and you could follow the gradients on the road. This Kickr Bike has it included. All right, that's enough from me about this Wahoo bike. I'm passing it off to you. What do you think of the looks of it? What do you think of the technology behind it? What do you think to the price? Do you think this is going to be the game changer that everybody was expecting to see with a taxed smart bike? I mean, let me know down below. All right, before we move on to the next story, just a quick reminder that we are streaming again. So if you want to be involved in the streams, we had one last night and it was great to be back. Loads of old faces that I've not seen in a long time in the chat. So it was great to be able to interact with you all. If you want to be part of those, if you want to get involved in those rides as well, make sure you hit that notification bell so you know when we're going live with our live streams. And you can join me on Zwift, you can join me on whatever platform I'm riding on at the time, and we can get involved in some community banter. We recently received a press release from Zwift announcing that steering is coming. In the press release, it said, debuting at Eurobike and due to be released to public next week, steering is the first innovation to roll out under the FutureWorks label. Moving forward, FutureWorks will be used to introduce new innovations from the Zwift brand, which it will pitch to the Zwift community for research and development. Feedback taken from the community on these products will ultimately shape the final variation. CEO Eric Min said, the teams here at Zwift have so many innovative ideas, but Zwifters have historically only been able to try those that have gone through a lengthy development process. FutureWorks will allow us to deliver more of these ideas at a concept phase, allowing Zwifters to give us their direct feedback on what they want to see more of. This is a means of giving the community more of a voice on what they wish to see added in game. So Zwift's new steering test segment can be found in Titans Grove on Watopia, the island's latest course expansion, and it has been designed purely with fun in mind. When riding through Titans Grove, Zwifters will receive a prompt on screen as they approach the steering segment, asking whether they would like to test steering. Once the steering option is selected, Zwifters will then be transported to the start of the new trail. And here's another thing, mountain bikes. Mountain bikes are here in Zwift. Now I don't know in what capacity they'll be here. Is it just going to be a one-off for this steering test? Are they actually going to develop trails for us to use within Watopia? I mean, that is pretty exciting. I'm really excited about mountain bikes coming to Zwift. Maybe that's what I was waiting for. Every time Zwift do an update, I ride it and I go, yeah, it's not, yeah, it's still not, But maybe mountain bikes are the one. Imagine this. They get the steering right. Let's ignore steering within the peloton and still riding through riders. Let's ignore that. And just the fact that you don't have to tell the computer that you want to turn left and go straight on or whatever you want to do. You simply go, do you know what? Screw it, I want to go this way. And with it, as long as the road's been built there, you can go down it. And the same with little trails. Are there going to be little trails that you can just cut off the road and go up a little trail up to the top of the hill, back down and make a shortcut out of, I don't know, the epic KOM or something like that? Is there going to be single track mountain bike trails all the way through it? Imagine that. Imagine that. Steering on Zwift, what's your thoughts on it? Are you glad it's coming out? Are you going to be testing it? Do you think it's a function that's actually going to be useful within Zwift as they develop it? Or do you think it's just a bit more of a gimmick that doesn't really need to be involved in Zwift because of the way that the avatars go through each other? Leave your comments down below. Oh, also, mountain bikes. What do you think to that? All right, and finally, we covered this story a few days ago. Ceramic Speed have just announced some big news. And that big announcement is the prototype that they released last year, the Driven, with the you know that, yeah? Well, they've just announced that they have made a shiftable version of it. Over on the Ceramic Speed website, they say why they're considered a monumental task. Our R&D team have achieved a major engineering breakthrough in shiftability after only 14 months since unveiling the original concept. Driven now comprises a fixed front pinion and a patent-pending wirelessly controlled electronic shiftable rear split pinion. The project leader Jason Smith said, "The rear split pinion is a novel method of changing gears, even under rider load. This pinion is split down the middle in an axial manner, creating two halves. Each half of the pinion can move independently to complete a shift. The pinion doesn't have to wait for a radial aligned shift channel to arrive." Could mean anything. With the use of self-aligning torque decoupler, the pinion can shift anywhere on the rear cog. A shift occurs very quickly within one rotation of the drive shaft. With this rear split pinion, shift speed has the potential to outperform a traditional electronic drive chain. Ceramic Speed have also dropped a video over on YouTube explaining this way better than I can.
The Driven drivetrain features a dual pinion design, comprising of a fixed front pinion and shiftable rear split pinion. The two pinions utilize a total of 21 Ceramic Speed ball bearings that create the engagement interface of the drivetrain. This is a patented engineering novelty that makes the Driven drivetrain revolutionary. The Driven drivetrain is controlled by wireless electronic shifting. The hollow carbon fiber shaft houses a rechargeable battery, an actuator, and a shift mechanism that controls the shiftable rear split pinion. The shiftable rear split pinion utilizes a step and follow shift pattern. One half of the pinion is engineered as the lead, always stepping into position when free of the cassette to engage into the next gear. The trailing half follows when free from the cassette, completing the shift. Seamless shift alignment is possible through a torque decoupler located at the trailing half of the split pinion. This is made up of two spring-loaded bearings that have been purposefully engineered to deliver precise meshing between the pinion and the cassette. Driven is the world's most mechanically efficient and aerodynamically efficient bicycle drivetrain.
Let's start a discussion down below about this. What do we think? Are we any closer to making a production version of this? There's still 1,000,001 different variables that could cause this to malfunction, I guess, in the real world. But what are your thoughts? Do you think eventually, once this concept is nailed down, that it will then be covered to protect it from the elements? Do you think we're going to see it exactly as it is now in a production version soon? Let me know down below. What do you think? Thanks for watching, everybody. Now, don't forget, as ever, do all those things I've asked you to do. Make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you've disliked this video, feel free to hit that dislike button. I don't mind, as long as you leave your comment down below and let me know why. Join us again tomorrow for more Chris Pritchard Cycling News Show. Eesh.